So today we will be talking about congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Do you know the terminology congenital adrenal hyperplasia?
Yes, sir.
So where have you been taught?
Is you.
So do you know what is this? So do you know
Yes, sir.
anything about this?
Yes,
Just tell
sir.
what you know. Tell me what you know.
It is autosomal recessive, and it
Very good.
causes cortisol.
You're asking for the enzymes or the deficiency?
Yes, deficiency, enzyme deficiency. It is
Oh.
deficiency is enzyme only. So what is deficient?
5A hydroxylase.
Which hydroxylase?
5A.
5A? Not commonly. 5A you will not find in steroid hormone synthesis.
Okay. 11B.
11, okay. Directly you can write 11 hydroxylase. Then third,
17 hydroxylase?
17 hydroxylase. So mainly we will talk about these 3 hydroxylase deficiency today. 21 hydroxylase. The 21 hydroxylase deficiency is also called, what is it called? It is called classical congenital adrenal hyperplasia. If something is classical, that means it is present in more frequency. If something is non-classical, that means it is present in less frequency. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, this 21 hydroxylase is present in more frequency. First, we will go through the synthesis. Yes. So let's see. So this is adrenal gland, as you all know. Adrenal cortex. This is just to refresh. Adrenal. This is part of adrenal cortex, and outer part of adrenal cortex called glomerulosa secretes mineralocorticoid. Okay, and this fasciculata secretes glucocorticoid or something cortisol, and then this last part, this secretes what? This secretes androgen. This secretes androgen plus glucocorticoid. So androgen will be secreted. What are the androgen that is secreted from this adrenal gland? Do you know? These are androstenedione. The name itself suggests it has got 2O group. On this type of 2O group. This is on group. In means one double bond is there, and 2 this oxo group is there. Androsten, and this is an androgen. It has got effect. What effect? Androgen effect. So androstenedione, and second is DHEA. So if you see the name dihydro, it is called dihydro EP androstenedione. Androsterone, not androstenedione. Dihydroepiandrosterone. Here you will see only one on. Okay, only one O group. Here you will see 2 O group. So these 2 are the androgen that is secreted from adrenal cortex. And these are very, very important for us. They have very big impact in pathogenesis. So you already know all this steroid hormone that is secreted from adrenal cortex, and you, after secretion of this hormone, you know what happens. So this is the hormone. This is the enzyme. Again, the same. This is the very important enzyme. This is the most important enzyme. Cytochrome 450 system. These are the most important enzymes that actually are required for synthesis of steroid hormone. What is this? This is the 11 hydroxylase, 17 hydroxylase, and then 21 hydroxylase. These are all this enzyme. These are all cytochrome 450 system enzyme, And you can see this all do hydroxylation. You can see this all do hydroxylation. That means it utilizes heme. It utilizes vitamin B3 and vitamin B2. So this is a very important enzyme. I am telling you from the beginning, and this enzyme is also very important for drug metabolism. It is present in very high quantity also in liver. You can see this is present in adrenal gland as well. So there are many types of enzyme, cytochrome 450 enzyme. Okay, there are many types, and that belongs to one family. The family name is cytochrome 450 family. You can see here this cytochrome 450. You can see 11A, 11B. These are 11 hydroxylase that we call 11 hydroxylase. It belongs to 11B, cytochrome 450. 17 hydroxylase that we call. Do you know what is tuning fork?
Tuning fork?
Yes.
Yes.
It is, you have studied physics. So in that physics, you will hear that terminology, tuning fork. This is tuning fork. Okay. This is a tuning fork. This is used to do experimentation. It has got two prongs. These are called prongs. Okay. If you remember that tuning fork, if you arrange this whole pathway of synthesis of steroid synthesis in tuning fork, you will remember everything. So this is not just as synthesis. This is a memory technique I am presenting to you, so that you will remember every time how this hormone synthesis happens. So the handle of tuning fork represents 17 hydroxylase. Okay, 17 hydroxylase. Now this one prong of this tuning fork, you will see the base of tuning fork represent enzyme 21 hydroxylase, and this two prong is this two prong. Through one prong you will see aldosterone synthesis pathway goes, and through other prong you will see cortisol synthesis. And this cortisol synthesis, you know, it happens in glomerulosa, not glomerulosa. This happens in fasciculata. This happens in glomerulosa, and this happens in reticularis. So you can understand this. So what will happen first? Cholesterol will break the chain. This is cholesterol. Cholesterol will break the chain in mitochondria, and then it will form a molecule called pregnenolone. You can see pregnenolone. This is isocaproic acid is released. This is pregnenolone. Now pregnenolone, you can see this only one O group is there, a side chain, 2 carbon side chain is there, and a hydroxy group is already there. What happens then next? This pregnenolone changes happens here, and this will convert in progesterone. Progesterone now will convert into all this. So you can see progesterone is the female sex hormone. It will convert into aldosterone. It will go through this pathway, and it will convert into cortisol. So for synthesis of cortisol, 17 hydroxylase is required for synthesis of cortisol, not required for synthesis of aldosterone. Now, what happens when this 17 hydroxylase is not there? What will happen then? Only aldosterone will be there, not cortisol. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Tuning fork.
Yes.
Yes, I know tuning fork.
This is tuning fork is like this. Isn't it like this?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes. So you can take this pathway as tuning fork. Okay. You
Okay.
put one enzyme here, one enzyme at the base of tuning fork, and then this will represent the pathway, two pathway, and this red color will represent the pathway. So that I'm providing you a brain map. So this is how you can remember whole steroid hormone synthesis. This is the place where this is called reticularis, and this is fasciculata. This is the pathway of fasciculata. You can represent, this is pathway of glomerulosa. Okay, so you can see in glomerulosa, fasciculata both has 11 hydroxylase enzyme. And here, what is the peculiarity about this aldosterone synthesis? Aldosterone has got this enzyme, 18 hydroxylase. And the what is there for cortisol synthesis? Cortisol has got this enzyme, 17 hydroxylase. So if you remember this whole pathways, so progesterone, cholesterol convert into pregnenolone, pregnenolone convert into progesterone, progesterone convert into this compound, and this compound will ultimately form cortisol through this pathway. So for formation of cortisol, it has to go through this pathway. You have to remember this much enzyme only. This will have to go 21 hydroxylase. So I'm just, my concern is, now my concern is, if this 17 hydroxylase is deficient, what will happen if this enzyme is not there?
The production of
No production of what?
sex
No production of corticoid and no production of cortisol. Okay.
of cortisol and aldosterone.
Aldosterone will be high. Is there obstruction in aldosterone?
Sorry, it will be high.
Yes, it will be high. So aldosterone, if 17 alpha hydroxylase is deficient, aldosterone will be high. Just put this picture into your imagination. You will remember everything later. So you will require, wherever you require this, you have to analyze. If you use this picture, brain map, you will able to analyze all the questions. So now, if, see, what will happen if 21 hydroxylase is deficient? What will happen?
There will be production of aldosterone.
There will not be production of this, either of this,
Aldosterone and cortisol.
because 21 hydroxylase is required for production of both of this. So what will be the, well, this will be high. Sex corticoid will be high. Okay. In 21 hydroxylase deficiency, you can see sex corticoid will be high. So let's see if there is deficiency of this 11 hydroxylase, then what will happen?
No production of cortisol and aldosterone.
Yes, cortisol, aldosterone will not be produced, but this of different form of cortisol and steroid will be formed. This is called Levin-Des. Des means which is not hydroxylated. Levin, non-Levin hydroxylated aldosterone and non-Levin hydroxylated the cortisol and aldosterone will be produced, but which is not hydroxylated at 11 position. So this type of 2 cortisol and aldosterone will be produced. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now you can see through the molecular structure. So you can see this is pregnenolone. So pregnenolone has pregnanol, one ol and one on, one ol and one on. This is called pregnenolone. Now progesterone, because on only. Here also on, here also on. Progesterone changes happens here. Now after progesterone will form all this compound: aldosterone, cortisol, and sex corticoid. So progesterone will convert into, after 21 hydroxylase, this will convert into this compound. This is 21 number hydroxylated. So 21 hydroxylase will convert again into this compound. This is 11 hydroxylase. This compound will be produced if 11 is not there. Okay, this will be in high quantity. Now you can see this compound ultimately is aldosterone after action of 18 hydroxylase. Now you can see this progesterone will convert into this very important. This is a very, very important compound, 17-OHP. So this 17-OHP is very utilized to differentiate this all deficiency. This is a very, very important enzyme, very, very important metabolite. And this is also used to analyze congenital adrenal hyperplasia in postnatal. This is also used for postnatal screening. 17-OHP. This is a very important laboratory marker. Now this is 17 hydroxylase will convert it like this. So this type of compound will be created when 11 hydroxylase is not there. So you can see now. So feedback, which will give feedback? These two will give feedback. If these two are not produced, then it will cause adrenal hyperplasia. If this cortisol and cortisol is not there, if this cortisol is not produced, so this will cause feedback. And this will not cause feedback. Because of that, what will happen? High amount of ACTH will be secreted, and this high amount of ACTH will cause hyperplasia. This will cause hyperplasia. So this is the mechanism of hyperplasia. If these are absent, they will cause hyperplasia. Now let's talk about this hyperplasia right now, congenital adrenal hyperplasia. We are focusing only on congenital adrenal hyperplasia today. So I have written here very, very important molecule. So can you remember this structure? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
So you just remember, if you have to analyze any condition, if you remember this picture, you will be able to analyze the situation. You will be able to differentiate between 17 hydroxylase deficiency, 21 hydroxylase deficiency, and 11 hydroxylase deficiency. Just see this. So cholesterol, pregnenolone, progesterone. So progesterone will convert into all of this. Now you can see this 17 hydroxylase here. Now you, from this picture, it will be more clear. If this is absent, what will happen? 21 hydroxylase is absent. What will happen now? Tell me. If you engage in lecture, you will remember better.
There won't be production of cortisol and aldosterone. The person will suffer from congenital adrenal hyperplasia.
Okay.
Cortisol.
So it is cortisol is not there. That is why very high amount of ACTH will be there, and that will produce hyperplasia. If it is not present, what will be present in very high quantity?
The sex corticoids.
Sex corticoid and DHEA. So this is a very important 21 among all this deficiency. 21 hydroxylase is the most important deficiency. So in this condition, you will see no production of aldosterone, only production of this dihydroxyacetone first, this dihydroaldosterone and dihydroepiandrosterone. So DHEA and androstenedione will be produced here. Sex corticoid will be produced here, and this high amount of sex corticoid, this can convert into testosterone, and testosterone can convert into estrogen. This is the synthesis of steroid hormone. So if these are very high, what will happen? This will cause a problem called virilization. So this will cause a problem called virilization. What is virilization? In female, what will happen? Appearance of male characteristics will be there. So there will be ambiguous genitalia in female. But in male, what will happen? The male sex hormone will become very high, and that will cause early puberty. This is called precocious puberty. And early fusion of that bone. Height of male will be smaller in height.
Early puberty for male.
Early puberty for male.
Yes.
Because in male sex, this corticosteroid, this male sex hormone will be high.
Yeah.
That will cause early puberty, early fusion of epiphyses, and that will shorten the height. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Now, so if these are not synthesized, so what will happen? Second is salt wasting. Salt wasting will happen. No aldosterone means salt wasting, and that is why, because of this salt wasting, there will be wasting of sodium. So sodium will be low, and you know potassium and proton are opposite of sodium. So potassium and proton are very high. So acidosis is the condition, and hypotension because of low sodium. So hypotension and acidosis. Salt wasting, hypotension, Salt wasting means hypotension and then acidosis. Hypotension, acidosis, and virilization. Do you understand this much?
Yes, sir.
Now, because there is no feedback, this is not there. There is no feedback. That is why what will happen? ACTH will be very high. And you know, ACTH has melanocyte stimulation action. Melanocyte, it will also stimulate melanocyte because it is synthesized from the same precursor, preopiomelanocortin.
Hyperpigmentation.
Yes.
Disease.
Yes. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
This will cause hyperpigmentation, hypermelanin pigmentation. So these are the effect of 21 hydroxylase deficiency. If you remember this picture, you will remember everything. So did you understand this thing?
Yes, sir.
What when 21 hydroxylase is deficient?
Yes, sir.
Now let's see what will happen when 17 hydroxylase is deficient. You have already told him.
No sex corticoids.
No sex corticoid. Okay.
Yes.
No virilization. No virilization.
Okay.
No virilization.
Sure.
Then no cortisol. That means
the ACTH will be high.
yes.
MSH will be high, leading to hyperpigmentation.
So hyperpigmentation. Now then, here aldosterone is high.
Aldosterone will be high.
Aldosterone is high. So what will happen? Hypertension.
Yeah, okay. Hypertension, high sodium, hypokalemia,
High sodium,
hypokalemia,
hypokalemia. Good, great. Then
and low
alkalosis.
alkalosis, metabolic alkalosis.
Yeah. Low proton means alkalosis. This is the feature of 0.17 alpha hydroxylase deficiency, CNC. You can make out from this picture. If you know the deficiency, you can actually extract the concept from this picture. Now, so this is what happens. Now, what about this very particular compound? Let me talk about this compound. What about this? So if this is deficient, what will happen to this? Will it be very high or low?
Sex corticoid to be low and no
17
cortisol.
OHP will be 17 OHP because this is a very important diagnostic actually screening molecule. This is screening analyte, actually screening test. This is a screening test, 17 hydroxyprogesterone OHP. So level of this will be high or low because this is not being synthesized. See, from progesterone only after 17 hydroxylation this will be formed. 17 hydroxylase will be formed.
Yes.
From progesterone it will form 17 hydroxyprogesterone. If this is not there, what will happen to this?
There will be 17 OHP.
There will not be because there will not be hydro. This enzyme is the enzyme that is producing this. This is doing 17 hydroxylation. Progesterone is being hydroxylated, P for progesterone. This progesterone is being hydroxylated at 17 position. If this enzyme is not there, what will be the effect of this? Concentration of this will be high or low? This is very easy.
Low.
It should be low. Very logical. One step logic. This will be low. But suppose if this is absent, what will be the concentration of this?
What is absent, sir?
Yes? It will
If
be high.
what?
Yeah, it will be high.
Okay.
Because 17 is not deficient. That is why it will be high. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a very important concept. So you can differentiate this, use this 17 OHP. 17 OHP is high in classical. High in classical, low in non-classical. Remember, this is very important concept. 17 OHP is high in which congenital adrenal hyperplasia?
In classical.
Classical. Low in non-classical. Remember.
Non-classical.
Yes. Now let's talk about this. If this is absent, 11 hydroxylase is absent. What will be high? Progesterone will come to this through this pathway, go through this pathway, like, and this and this. These two molecules will be high. Can you see?
Yeah.
Aldosterone, that is devoid of 11 hydroxylase. This is cortisol, that is devoid of 11 hydroxylase. So this two type of compound will be high, and this two type of compound has mineralocorticoid activity. But what will happen? There will not be negative feedback to pituitary because a cortisol is not being produced. So ACTH will be high. Okay, ACTH will be high. But because of this ACTH is high, so what will happen? There will be more production of in this all substances. So there will be more production of high amount of DOC, high production of DOC. There will be high production of this sex corticoids. This will be high. As a result, what do you expect presentation? In this 11 hydroxylase deficiency, what do you expect the presentation?
For sex corticoids, virilization, early puberty in male,
yes, early puberty,
and early fusion of epiphyseal plates.
Yes, yes, that virilization, all effect of air. What do you expect here?
In what, sir?
Here, because of high DOC.
High DOC.
This has mineralocorticoid like activity. Both will help
Okay.
mineralocorticoid.
Okay.
This will also work like cortisol also.
Hypertension.
Yes, hypertension.
More sodium.
More sodium.
Metabolic alkalosis.
Metabolic alkalosis.
Hypokalemia.
Hypokalemia. So did you notice one thing? In non-classical, you can see this hypertension in non-classical. But in classical, you see hypotension. Did you see this very important difference between classical and non-classical?
Yes, sir.
Classical is always a salt wasting, generally salt wasting. Okay? But non-classical, salt retaining. And this presentation is variable. Can be seen in non-classical also. In 11 hydroxylase deficiency only. So I will give you more mnemonics. Remember this picture. Now, so can you see? So if you have remembered this, now you can, I will make you memorize this. If 21 hydroxylase deficiency is there, this is classical. And you know, classical means 21. T for testosterone. T for 21. Here testosterone is high. Okay, 21 hydroxylase, testosterone is high always. The salt will be low, other is low. Now, if you talk about this 17 hydroxylase, 17 means salt. So salt is high, but testosterone is low. Now, if you see 11 hydroxylase, write this 11 like this. Make this. So both are high. Will you remember this mnemonics? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
11, both are high. Look at this. 11. This is high. Salt is high. Hypertension. And this is also high. Virilization and hypertension both will be together. This is 11. Now, if you talk about 17, now let's see the 17. So if this is absent, what will happen? No, only salt is high. 17 salt is high. This is not there. Only hypertension, no virilization. Now, so 21. If this is not there, we have already done this. So this will be salt will be low and T420 testosterone will be high. So this is how you can remember through this mnemonics also. And in laboratory, if you do in laboratory, this I have taken from very standard textbook. So if you do in laboratory, you will see in 20 form 2 for testosterone. So androgens are high in such condition. So what are the androgens here? Androgens, you will see androgens similar to here. After this will be high. I told you this is a very important compound that is used to separate classical from non-classical. This will be very high. 17 hydroxylase will be very high. You can see this is elevated. Ketogenic, and these are both, two are called KS, 17 KS. These are called 17 ketoesteroid. Dihydroepiandrosterone, and this is called androstenedione. Both are what? Both are ketogenic ketosteroid, KS. These are called KS. I'll show you the structure of these two also. You can see the structure of these two. This is called dihydroepiandrosterone, DHEA. This is DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone, DHEA. And epiandrosterone, dihydroepiandrosterone, only one. And this is androstenedione. You can see androstenedione here. And so this both androstenedione and DHEA both combinedly called 17 KS. So these androgens are high. 17 kgs is same as 17 OHP. Both are same. Okay, so this is high. So 17 OHP is high and 24 testosterone. Androgens are high. And if you see here, all are high. You will see in 11, all are high, elevated. If you see here in 17, only this mineralocorticoid is high, salt is high. So you can correlate with this like this. Did you understand these three conditions nicely? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Will you able to separate this condition?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, talk about this. So 15-year-old female, this is a female patient, was born with genital ambiguity. She was brought up as a boy because she was ambiguous in genitalia. Many people does that. So she is short in height, 146 centimeter, with pubic hair, vagina, and bilateral unpalpable testes. Testis is unpalpable. This is very important clue. So the patient will have, this female will have testicles like things, but there will be lack of testicle inside, unpalpable testicles. And karyotype was this. So karyotypically she is a female. Now when biochemistry analysis done, this is a very important test. I told you 17 hydroxy progesterone was done. So it came out to be 115 or about 116 nanogram per ml. Normal is 1 to 9, about 1 to 9 nanogram per ml. Sorry, it is not about 0.3 to 2.9. This is nanogram per ml. This is a different value. This is normal millimole per liter. So normal is between 0.3 to 3. This is very high. Now uterus with endometrial lining was found on USG examination. So after USG examination, uterus was found. MRI examination showed a uterus and phallus, fallopian tubes, and then phallus, and then you can see increased bilateral adrenal gland consistent with congenital adrenal hyperplasia. So almost diagnosis has been done. Bone age study was consistent with the age, 18-year-old. 2 orifices were found on urology examination, external urethral orifice and vaginal with intact bladder structure. A psychiatric examination conducted that she had an internal conflict because of this experience due to all examinations being directed to female gender. However, she still has a tendency to choose female gender because she is genetically female. So what would be the diagnosis here from this?
Congenital adrenal hyperplasia.
Which classical, non-classical?
Classical.
Classical, because OHP is very high.
Yes.
Okay, this is classical congenital. This is congenital hyperplasia, which is classical. Now you can see. So diagnosis is, this is a very important test for diagnosis. Now other tests you can do. DHE and androstenedione, cortisol, other tests can be done. But this is a very cornerstone of diagnosis, differentiation. Now how do you differentiate? If this value is more than 100 nanogram per ml, like here you can see 150, 160 nanogram per ml. So this is classical. Or if 100 means if you take it in nanomole per liter, it should be more than 300. So here you can see in patient nanogram per ml, we are taking nanogram per ml. If it is more than 100, but if it is less than this 6, if you can see here, other. Now, a level between 6 to this 300 or 2 to 100 indicate non-classical. So non-classical will have less than this, between this. You know, 11 has OHP. OHP 11 hydroxylase deficiency has OHP, but 17 does not have. OHD does not have. That's very low OHP. So this is how you can separate. First you do this test, and then if it is more than 100 nanogram per mole, you go for classical, and then this. So this is, you can see, this is a virilizing type of, only you can see virilization has been there. So you don't find here symptoms of salt wasting. So this classical congenital hyperplasia is also of 2 types. Here you can see the picture. You go and study see yourself. You can see the short height, ambiguous genitalia, you can see. So these are the ambiguity. You can see fusion of this labia majora. This is stages. In simple cases, there will not be fusion. There will be enlargement of clitoris only. But as this, the virilization is represented by enlargement of this clitoris and then fusion of labia majora forming into testicle-like thing. So this is the progression of virilization. Now you can see, so congenital adrenal hyperplasia, you know, this is autosomal recessive condition, and this is congenital. Classical is of two types. One is salt wasting and simple virilization. What is the difference between salt wasting? In simple virilization condition, enzyme, there is retention of 1 to 2% of enzyme activity, and this 1 to 2% enzyme activity, 21 hydroxylase enzyme activity, is sufficient to produce aldosterone. That is why patient has only simple virilization only, as we have seen in the case. Only virilization you will see, and this classical can be very dangerous, and non-classical can be non-symptomatic. Hypertension will be there, just treat the hypertension, that will be fine. And this will be appearing in Jewish population, you will see. Jewish population, this is very congenital, non-classical. So you can say salt wasting is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Very dangerous. So only this is the most dangerous. Here, complete absence of 21 hydroxylase is there in such conditions, salt wasting. So you know why salt wasting. And there can be simple virilization form. Here non-classical, 11 hydroxylase deficiency and 17 hydroxylase, two types of non-classical. So you can see this aldosterone, I have already explained all this. So early presentation you will see in classical salt wasting type. There are two types, one is simple virilization, and you know, simple virilization has virilization only. Salt wasting has salt wasting plus virilization. It does not mean that it has got salt wasting only. It has got both, virilization plus salt wasting. Remember that. So this is salt wasting. Here you will see virilization is also present, but very prominent. The dangerous features are salt wasting, hypotension, poor feeding, vomiting, newly born baby. So you will have to treat this newly born baby. If you cannot treat, so patient can die, baby can die. So all patient will need long-term treatment with aldosterone. Now you can see this is ambiguous genitalia. This is simple virilizing condition where this salt wasting is absent. Both condition, virilization is present. Here salt wasting is present. Only virilization is present. That is why it is called simple virilization. So here, this all features you will see there also. If the patient progresses through life, clitoris enlargement, and then labia sexual ambiguity, as I have already told you, you can see these are the features you will see in male. Now congenital will have hypertension. A very big difference to differentiate non-classical, classical this congenital hyperplasia by simply with your sphygmomanometer. You check the blood pressure, you will know the difference. So actually, newborn does not, it's difficult for newborn to take blood pressure anyway, but this hypertension is very good presentation. So this I have already explained, you go and study yourself, okay? Many cases, it can be remain asymptomatic for whole life. Few cases, the presentation will be there, but presentation is milder in non-classical. So did you all understand diagnosis is very important? 17 hydroxyprogesterone is very important for diagnosis. And you will see high renin. Which condition do you find high renin? Classical or non-classical? Tell me. These are the differentiating points.
In non-classical.
Non-classical.
No, sorry. In classical, sorry.
Salt wasting will have high renin. Okay, classical will have high renin, and this
Yes.
both will be high in classical. So you can see this both are high. This high renin high 17 OHP is feature of classical, not non-classical. So non-classical will have low. So these two tests are very important test OHP. I am focusing repeatedly on 17 OHP. Don't forget this 17 OHP. At least remember one. Okay. So and this genital ambiguity is also utilized. Presentation also utilized for the diagnosis. Polycystic ovary like phenotype because of high dihydroepiandrosterone sulfate. As for sulfate, androstenedione, these are increased. So did you all understand this differentiation between these three? Did you understand all this? Everybody tell me. Stella, did you all understand?
Yes, sir.
Will you memorize the differences between these three?
Yes, sir.
Will you able to solve the question if I give you a question?
Yes, sir.
So remember this picture and then this. Always remember these two. If you remember this picture and this picture, so you will never forget congenital adrenal hyperplasia. And you will also remember this hormone synthesis, steroid hormone synthesis. Won't you remember steroid hormone synthesis easily? If you remember this picture, I'll tell you this tuning for, if you remember this tuning for, won't you remember the synthetic pathway of this hormones also?
I will.
Yes?
I will.
Yes. And that is why just remember this and this. These two picture, if you remember this table of one picture, you will remember everything.